Whatever the dominant energy that you are carrying in the moment, that is the precise energy that will be the catalyst in activating other vibrational equivalent energies in the physical. Other elements of energies that vibrate in the same alignment, you're going to activate them once you connect with those things physically. But the transmissions have already been broadcast metaphysically. So metaphysical energy always precedes physical presence. Remember that. So long before you get to where you're going to go, your energy is there already, setting the stage, so to speak. And what happens after this is, it is all contingent on which particular type of energy you're carrying. If it's high vibrational and happy and all of that, those are the experiences that you're going to encounter and observe. And everything that is in alignment with that will be conducive to that stream of energy flowing back and forth, the reciprocity. So you'll see amazing synchronicities, things that you think are like circumstance, random, things like this. Nothing happens randomly or by chance or by luck. There's no such thing as circumstance in the universe. Everything is specifically designed because of whatever energy you are transmitting. That's what you're activating in the area. You're activating these things as equivalent elements because now you're an equivalent to it or to them. So that's exactly what's happening. You're not attracting anything. They're already there. They're right there. The reason you don't see these things is because you're not an equivalent to them. Once you become an equivalent, they see you, you see them, and that's how you formulate these experiences, these situations and circumstances, interactions, and so on. But if what you're carrying is a low vibrational nature, it's going to be the same. But the difference is that you're going to be activating demonic parasites that attach themselves to your subconscious brain. They're going to take control of that brain, that physical mind. They will manipulate your reality, control your brain waves. They will start to formulate and create their own thought patterns that you think that are yours but aren't. And then you start to activate all of these elements of a low vibrational nature. You saturate the environment around you with that energy. Because don't forget, you're a transceiver. You're transceiving simultaneously. You're transmitting and receiving like an antenna. You broadcast and you receive. You're saturating every area that you find yourself in with that particular dominant energy in that moment. So if you're in a bad mood and you're really like angry and negative, you're activating everything that's a vibrational equivalent to that, but even more so, everything that you connect with, you saturate with that energy because it becomes an extension of your energy. And these are the experiences that you're going to observe. So you have to understand, we're all a work in progress. These things require practice because you've been so inundated and conditioned to be only negative and malevolent and evil and only focusing on, being addicted to negativity in all of its forms. And it's almost like you've been indoctrinated into a cult because you have. And you've been like saturated with this stuff, like held underwater forever. And when you finally start to break the surface and breathe, that's when you start to realize your own awakening and you have your own power. But all that time that you were held under that water, you just soak this stuff up and you don't just pull yourself out and dry off in a second, you're good to go. That stuff takes time. It takes time for those things to dry out in a sense. So because you've been so inundated with it and so familiarized with it, it becomes a pattern and a habit and a routine. It's so thoroughly ingrained in your subconscious that it becomes a part of your nature and it becomes a part of your character. So you can't just, all of a sudden like that, you're just completely different. It takes time. So, of course, once you start on your new journey, you might have relapses. Everybody does. I do from time to time. Even today I had one. It's normal. Sometimes you just don't want to go out. And when you find yourself in public, because I'm an empath, you become overwhelmed by all the energy. And sometimes you're in not a low vibrational energy negative wise, just low as far as power. Like you're kind of like, a little tired. So when you're tired, the darkness sees this as a vulnerability and they take full advantage to exploit that. So they attempt to attach themselves to your energy field and start drawing in by activating everything in the surrounding environment that's equivalent to the frequency that they transmit on a dominant nature, in a dominant nature. So just don't be hard on yourself. Because as I've said, you've come from an indoctrination camp that brainwashed you into becoming an unconscious soldier in an army of darkness, that only just consumes negativity, malevolence, evil, chaos, all of these things, apathy, stoicism, violence. You don't believe that there are any good people. You're jaded and bitter and cynical. You're very standoffish, hypervigilant, all of these things. You reject love, but you embrace cruelty. You have absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with affection because that's inappropriate. But let's go watch a boxing match and watch two guys bludgeon each other to death in the ring. That's okay. This is where you're coming from. So it doesn't just go away. So when you find yourself in a kind of a low vibrational state, not negative, but low energy, which is, you're physically tired, mentally tired, spiritually tired, you can be emotionally exhausted. This can attribute to why these things activate, because they see an opportunity. It's like a lion on the Serengeti. They're just looking for the weakest to pick out so they can prey on them. That's essentially what's going on. You don't have to necessarily be negative to activate these things, just a low energy. That's what they recognize as an opportunity to pounce and prey upon you. So that's really what's going on, metaphysically speaking. But in the spirit world, it's a constant. They will recognize everything. The universe recognizes every energy, because when you say universe, you're saying source, God, Almighty Consciousness, the divine, the Tao, universe, whatever name you want to use. But this is a video just to give you heads up that don't feel upset or hard on yourself, and don't beat yourself up over this stuff, because you're only human, man. We're in this form for a little while, and we're going to find ourselves perhaps having a relapse or making a mistake from time to time. Or one day you're really super high and everything's going great. Then the next day it's like, what? It's like a completely different situation. It just happens. Also, don't forget, you're not the only energy in the universe. There's other energies, not just human beings. You have celestial beings, you can't see them or perceive them, so they're working either for you or against you. You have the animal kingdom, the earth herself, all of the elements of the cosmos. So you have a lot to deal with. As far as metaphysically speaking, there's a lot of energy inside and outside at the same time. So when you find yourself on this new journey, which I hope you do, just take it one step at a time, baby steps. First you crawl, then you walk, then you run, then you fly. That's it. So don't be hard on yourself. Try to avoid staring contests with people. That's just all low negative nonsense. Eye-to-eye contact is really good if you're having a conversation that's very high vibrational. But if any kind of strangers around, be very careful, because two things happen when you establish eye contact with somebody else, or even another animal. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to just be human beings. Anything that's staring at you, eye to eye. What two things are happening? First, you're establishing a connection to their energy. That's the first thing. The second thing is, through that conduit, they can now filter and funnel their energy to you. So now you're filling yourself with their energy. So be very cautious when you make eye-to-eye contact. That's why whenever you're driving, you never want to pull up side by side to the car next to you. You always want to pull your car in between the two cars on the side. In other words, your driver's door will be behind the guy on the left and in front of the guy behind him. So you'll be in between. You won't be making eye-to-eye contact with anybody. Because when you pull up to a light and you look over and somebody's eyeballing you, that's contact, that's connection, that's energy transfer. You have to be very careful. And it happens like that because energy is instant. There's no delay. So if you're carrying a negative, or the dominant energy that you're carrying is low vibrational in nature, that's what you're going to be transmitting, activating, receiving as experiences, and these elements will be activated, and all of a sudden they will come into view in your panoramic spectrum, in your field of view, your field of observable view inside this vibrational environment, the field of energy that creates an atmosphere, and the language that is spoken there is conducive to whatever that dominant vibrational alignment is. So just try to do your best to work on practicing being proficient at staying in a high vibration. Nobody expects perfection. Some days, are better than others. But the only thing I could say for me that works is this: sometimes I have to just stop. I just have to reset myself and say to myself, this is an illusion. I'm not going to take it serious. This is just an assessment and a test, and it's just a holographic projection. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to get fooled into this, because I just came from that indoctrination camp that brainwashed me into believing that this is all there is, and that I must listen and obey and be obedient, to be an obedient follower and a slave and a puppet. And I'm not going to do that. I just simply won't comply. So you have to just take time and build yourself up, like bodybuilding. You don't become a professional bodybuilder in 5 weeks. It takes years. And this is the same. Instead of building muscle, You're building and reinforcing and fortifying your energy fields, and your awareness and your cognizance and your sentience becoming more and more lucid to the point where you are now diaphanous, crystal clear with everything. There's no more opacity to anything. Do you understand something? Universe is 100% transparent. Excuse me. Yes, the universe is 100% transparent. The in-between realm is translucent, and the matrix is opaque, 100% opaque. This is what you would refer to as interstice, the in-between the physical and the metaphysical. There's a space there that is occupied by what they call the unlimited fields of flux potential, water portals, rainbow bridge, the in-between. They call it purgatory in religion. This is what actually sandwiches the metaphysical and the physical together. So now the physical can be construed as the microcosmic, and the metaphysical is the macrocosmic, but it's also in reverse as well, because when you're in the physical, the external becomes the macrocosmic and your internal becomes the microcosmic. And everything is in between that. The water portals, flux potential, purgatory, in between is what I call it. But this is all happening at once, and it's a lot to really digest and take in. I don't know if you've ever heard of things like this before, but that's actually what's happening. Because even though you think you're a physical body solid, there's nothing solid. You're just energy that is manipulated into this form, an energy that has chosen to assume this form and interact with other energies that have chosen to assume specific forms that vary from what yours is. So that's really what's going on. It's always energy, no matter how you choose to view it. Everything is energy. There's no such thing as an inanimate object. Everything comes from the earth. Everything comes from source. And there's no such thing as intangible or imperceivable. Everything is right there. You just have to raise your conscious vibrational awareness to sense these things. You don't have to worry about seeing them because they won't show themselves to you more often than not. So in conclusion, just don't be hard on yourself. Everything takes time till you get to a level of proficiency where you're comfortable enough to secure yourself against these things happening ever again. So let me leave you with, you are awesome. God bless you. You are always loved and you are never alone. And just be the best version you can be of yourself, because really that's all we can ask of ourselves, because we can't ask anymore. Because why would we? We're just unnecessarily pressuring ourselves if we do.